O homem que trouxe reconhecimento internacional para as artes marciais foi Bruce Lee. Através de seus filmes, o mundo via florescer um tesouro desconhecido, o combate desarmado. Usando seus incríveis atributos físicos, Lee podia fazer qualquer técnica de luta parecer verdadeira e conveniente. Qualquer um que visse Bruce Lee atuando nas telas ou fora delas, concordava que estavam assistindo a um mestre trabalhando. Ainda adolescente, Bruce Lee começou seu treinamento no sistema Wing Chun do Kung Fu, que visava aprender os braços do oponente e ao mesmo tempo atacá-lo com técnicas manuais rápidas e de grande potência. Em 1958, Bruce Lee migrou para os Estados Unidos, onde fixou residência em Seattle, Washington. Sem instrutores para orientá-lo, Bruce começou a fazer experimentos por conta própria e passou a recrutar estudantes para ajudá-lo em seu treinamento. Desnecessário dizer que ficaram atônitos com a habilidade de seu jovem mestre.
One of the things that Bruce was trying to do was, that he constantly tried to do was to get across the idea of simplicity. Don't make things complex when simplicity will do.
When I first met Bruce, he'd been coming around to see Jesse a few times at our place. Jesse and I were roommates. I came around when Bruce was there, and Jesse had already told me about some of the amazing things Bruce could do. And Bruce was just a small person. He was 5 feet 7.5. He weighed 132 pounds. But you could see he was in shape, and he moved almost like a dancer. Bruce stood real close to me, right near a doorway in our little apartment. And he says, well, go ahead, try to hit me. So I was going to reach up and I was going to throw a left jab, essentially. But I was just going to tap him alongside the cheek. I was just going to... He was quite within range of me. He was within punching range, and I was just going to reach up like that and tap him along the cheek. So I said to him, okay. I said, are you ready? And he said, yes, and his hands were down here at his sides. And he looked kind of relaxed, and I thought, this guy ain't ready. And I said, well, are you sure you're ready? Because, you know, he didn't realize how fast you can get hit from that range, I thought, you know. And so I said, are you sure you're ready? He said, yes, I'm ready. And I said, okay. I stood there for a second, and I went like this, and before I got that far, my hands were slammed into my chest, and he had his forefinger in a little knuckle like this up against my throat, and he said to me, ah, the Fung Nan, the eye of the peacock. And I stood there kind of petrified, and I thought, how the hell did that happen?
Antes de sua chegada aos Estados Unidos, ele acreditava firmemente nas formas tradicionais de aprendizado das artes marciais. Isso incluía formas combinadas e exercícios. Depois de praticar esses movimentos durante anos e não ter visto qualquer resultado positivo, ele começou a questionar todo o fundamento das artes marciais. Começou fazendo ajustes no estilo Wing Chun.
It started as just a natural progression of logical moves that eliminated a waist motion here and a waist motion there, introduced a move that worked a little better here and there, and it was a very gradual thing. I don't think he realized it. I don't know at what point he realized he wasn't even doing Wing Chun anymore. He gradually began to realize that the classical martial arts were too restrictive, that you had to move in a certain exact way to do certain exact things, and that they didn't leave anything to the imagination, they didn't leave anything to a person's originality. Everyone had to do everything exactly the same, and they were just simply too constricting.
Nos anos 60, Lee mudou-se para Oakland, Califórnia. Seu novo enfoque das artes marciais melhorou ainda mais suas habilidades, que já eram excepcionais. Seu talento foi posto à prova quando um grupo de Kung Fu chinês o desafiou.
In those days, they think that the Chinese only teach Chinese. And so they selected one instructor just coming from Hong Kong recently at that time, and to challenge Bruce Lee. And they shop his school. And they set the rules, said, what to go by, and Bruce said, no, you challenge me, and first I know everything go. And so they start at it, and so Bruce started using Wing Chun, and just give him a strict blast, and the guy just, turn around and run.
Wong Jackman was trying to fight Bruce classical, and Bruce was trying to use Wing Chun, so he went right in, boom, 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 boom. And then he found out that Wong Jackman turned around and ran. And there was no defense or offense for a guy running you know, and you trying to hit him with his head down, going down like he's running with a football, you know. So then finally Bruce stopped him and got him in the corner, and was about ready to lower, you know, the right hand on him. And the guy said, I give up. So afterwards, Bruce said, now I realize if I'd have learned how to box, I would have thrown uppercuts and hooks, and I would have nailed him. And that was the birth of Jeet Kune Do.
Taekwondo, ou a arte de interceptar socos, era a própria expressão de Bruce Lee, que combinava suas habilidades físicas, sua filosofia pessoal e a aplicação direta da simplicidade e economia de movimentos.
And he had the ability to develop a system, a fighting system that uniquely of his own. He dared to challenge the old system, and he think that the traditional and classical way of training martial art is not the way to go. By so doing, he more or less modernized today's martial art by using modern scientific approach and through constant research, and to develop a system, a fighting system that he called Jeet Kune Do.
The name Jeet Kune Do was taken from the Jeet Kune form that Bruce learned from a Boy Scout master at the Chinese Baptist Church. Bruce conveniently added the word Do, which is a Japanese word, and coined that as a term for his approach to martial arts.
Instead of making believe you're hitting a opponent with a punch or a strike or a kick, he would hold targets up there, like professional boxers do in Western boxing, and make you fire the kicks and the punches against those targets. So he got us more into target practice as opposed to make-believing. He would divorce himself from practicing the prearranged katas and say, let's spend more time sparring. Let's do the actual engagement of contact. There was a lot of emphasis in the styles on the key to success is to be able to execute the proper technique with extreme speed, power, and deceptiveness. Bruce would take it a step further. It's not only your ability to execute the technique, but also what do you do when you receive the technique. He believed a lot in toughening the body, conditioning the body, being able to endure the punishment of someone attacking you. And so physical conditioning was very, very much a part of his persona, so to speak.
2 words he gave me, and I didn't really understand it until later on. He says, be alive and alert. Double A. And now I understand what he means. Being alive is always on your toes. You know, whatever you do, boom, you're an inch short of getting me. And being alert, boom, right in.
If you throw a punch, you throw a kick, in my personal opinion, the purpose of that technique is to do damage. Well, Bruce Lee had the same philosophy, so he hooked up like that. So in, let's see, I met Bruce in '67. We started working together later that year, '67, '68, and then somewhere in '69, when I started working with Bruce, I won like 11 consecutive grand championship titles without losing. I became invincible all of a sudden. Well, Bruce hit me just as my career was peaking anyway, so we kind of complemented each other would be the correct word. Bruce and I were always watching idols of his, such as the boxers, Muhammad Ali, Jack Dempsey, Willie Pep, Stanley Sadler. And what we were watching on film were full contact action, stuff that was working for real fighting, real combat.
He showed me a wrestling book he bought that was printed in 18-something, and the guy put his foot on his opponent's toe, hit him, and then took him down. And he said, hey, look, this is really fighting, stepping on a guy's toe and hitting him, and grappling with him.
Em 1971, Bruce Lee foi a Hong Kong em busca de suas ambições cinematográficas. Lá encontrou a fama e concentrou sua atenção na arte de filmar. Além disso, ele parecia aplicar seus conceitos que fizeram dele um artista excepcional em sua carreira cinematográfica, obtendo bons resultados. Sua morte inesperada em 1973 colocou as artes marciais e a indústria cinematográfica em estado de choque. Ninguém tinha ou esperava encontrar um substituto para Bruce Lee em nenhum lugar.